Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to be talking about my hydration and nutrition strategy ready for Ironman Wales, and hopefully I can give you some tips and tricks to go away with yourself. Alright, so we are going to go through the bike and then the run, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to have. I've got everything displayed out quite nicely here, just for you guys to see. So on the bike, I would normally have 2 litres of fluid, but I'm going to swap out my aero bottle on the bike for a litre bottle, just because it makes more sense to have the extra fluid and the extra space to put calories and electrolytes. So on the bike, I'm going to have 2 1500 sachets with a jumbo gel in this bottle. I'm going to have exactly the same in this bottle, and then on this bottle, on the cage between my bars, I'm going to have 4 30-gram gels. Now that with a 30-gram gel in the top tube and 2 Snickers bars, so James is going to have to quickly put a photo of Snickers bars on the screen. Not that anyone needs to know what a Snickers bar looks like, but the reason why I've decided to go for Snickers bars, number one, Leon Chevalier does it, so if it works for him, it's got to work for me. Oh friend. And number two, and more seriously, I think it's a good idea to mix up and have a little bit of solids for an Ironman. I've obviously never done an Ironman before, so this is my idea of what a good fueling strategy looks like. And I've sent this away to Precision Fuel and Hydration, and they're going to analyse it and tell me, if I need a little bit more, a little bit less in different places. But this is the idea and the plan that I've got so far. And so those Snickers bars will be in the top tube, along with this 30-gram gel. And I'll get through the Snickers bars pretty early on the bike, just so it gives my body loads of time to digest it fully, and then move on to more of a liquid-based carb. With all of this included, it's going to be about 100 grams of carbs an hour, and I really want to kind of preload a little bit. I'm quite good at taking on carbs on the bike, I know that, but I also know I'm not very good at taking on fuel and carbs on the run, so I want to make sure I'm getting enough in before I get off the bike. This is also going to be plenty of electrolytes for me, and then as you can see, it's only 2.5 litres of fluid, so when I stop at aid stations, I'll grab more fluid. Depending on how hot it is, depending on how hard I'm going, depending on how thirsty I am, I'll have between 4 and 5 litres of fluid, I reckon, which should be ample for me on the day. Moving on to the run, I've got some options here, and this is actually what we're probably going to be mostly testing and talking about today. So I've got, as you can see, this 500ml soft flask here. Now I'll either be running with that, and I'll stuff it down my front or something similar, or just hold it in my hand. I'm going to test it today with 3 1500 sachets, so really quite high concentrate of electrolyte, and then I'll just pick up water as and when to increase my fluid intake. Or I'll be running with this running belt, which I've just picked up from Precision Fuel and Hydration. As you can see, it's got these small bottles here. These are 300ml each, so I've got the opportunity to have 600ml of fluid. And again, I'll have 3 sachets between the 2 bottles, so 1.5 each. Again, quite high concentrate, and then I'll top up with water. I'm also going to be taking 2 jumbo gels with me, and this has actually got quite a nice, neat little pouch that I could slot one in and then carry one with me. And I'll also be taking a caffeine gel. I normally don't really use these caffeine gels until I really need to, but I feel like towards the back end of the marathon, I'll probably need all the help I can get. So a little kick of caffeine in the last maybe 5-10k is going to be really helpful. This is what I'll be testing to make sure that I'm comfortable running at a good pace with these things. When you're running slightly slower, it doesn't matter having a bit of extra weight, but actually when you're trying to run slightly quicker, having extra weight is really quite difficult. Now I'm trying to be across the board, bike and run, completely self-sufficient, to a degree. Obviously for a full Ironman you can't be self-sufficient for the whole thing, so I'm trying to take on all the carbs that I need, all the electrolytes that I need, and then anything else is just topping up with water and fluids. Now what I might end up doing is potentially ditching one of these gels if it's too much to carry, and then pick up stuff on course, but that's what we're sort of testing today to see if it suits me, to see if it works. And yeah, I think this is there or thereabouts 75 to 80 grams of carbs an hour. So that's pretty good, but we will see how things go with testing and we'll let you know. So we're just on the turbo now, doing a bit of, I guess, Ironman specific. It's always going to be Ironman specific bike session. So I've got two 45-minute blocks at kind of decent Ironman intensity, and they're set as 40 minutes of that intensity and then a 5-minute kind of surge, just to kind of just deaden the legs a little bit, make sure I've still got that power in the legs, all in position, and yeah, it should be good. But we're warming up now, so it's a good opportunity to talk through and hopefully give you some tips with regards to fueling for race day, whether that's 70.3 or full Ironman as I'm going into. And I'd like to think that from my experience I've got a decent plan and a kind of decent idea of what I should be doing. Those are probably going to be my famous last words. But to give you guys some tips, I think you just need to be really methodical about it. So what I do is I break down swim, bike and run, and I have a notebook and I write down everything and what I should be having, and I think it just gives you that peace of mind and that confidence that you've got everything you need. And so I will always look at my carbs, electrolytes and fluid as three separate things across the three different disciplines. Now obviously swim, you're not going to be taking on anything on the swim, but on the bike it's really important. Think about how much can you carry on your bike, what's going to be in those bottles, where are those bottles going to be placed. Think about also where are the aid stations going to be placed as well, if you want to be picking stuff up at the aid station. And obviously the longer the distance you do, the greater likelihood is that you're going to want to be picking up stuff from the aid station. So make sure you know where they are, and also make sure you have an idea of where's going to be a good place to fuel on the bike. When there's going to be downhill sections, sketchy sections or technical sections, that's going to be a no-no for taking on any type of fuel. You want to be fully focused on the road. Make sure you've got both hands on the handlebars to be as safe as you possibly can. But they're also on faster sections, just on a flat road. It might be easy to sit up and to have a bit of fuel, but I guess if you're really racing, you want to get the fastest time possible, it's going to slow you down a lot. So you need to think about, okay, some of the slower sections, maybe when you're climbing, not climbing too much, but climbing a little bit, that's probably a good place to have some fuel. And just to make sure that you're drip feeding yourself, you're not, you know, feeling good for the first few hours, thinking, I probably don't need it. A few hours later, suddenly, your body really needs it, and then you're playing catch up, and it's almost going to be game over, especially when you've got, you know, a marathon to do after that. So that's top tips for there. And it's similar on the run, really. Think about where you want to be fueling, what you can possibly carry with you, and where these aid stations are going to be, what you're going to pick up, and just run through the race really methodically in your head. It's going to give you the most confidence for race day, rather than just winging it and hoping for the best. It feels strange. I don't like it. Cool. Alright. Let's go. Alright, so bike session done. It's later on in the day now. We're just going to do a short, easy jog, and this is a perfect place to prep and just see what I'm going to take with me on the Ironman. So I've got this 500ml soft flask filled up. I've got my two 90-gram gels, which I mentioned I wanted to bring, and then I'm also currently wearing the pH belt with the two 300ml bottles. So I'm just going to see which one I prefer, which one feels better to run with, whether it's the flask or the belt, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so some interesting things have happened and I've come to some good conclusions with what I'd like to use on race day. Now I know I look like a bit of a muppet. I've got this belt on, I've got all this stuff in my hands, and also my colour coordination has been subpar today, as Lydia was very kindly pointing out earlier. But I have made some decisions, and actually this is all about preparation for the Ironman. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail, and I want to make sure that I'm as comfortable as possible on race day. So what I found is, I really like this race belt, or this running belt. However, it's probably better suited for easier, longer runs, rather than efforts where I'm trying to be at race pace. Hopefully I'm going to be at race pace, but I might end up walking on the marathon, but fingers crossed I don't. So I'm going to opt for the soft flask. With this, I'm going to have, like I mentioned, those 1500 sachets, so it's going to be really high concentrated, and then I'm going to pick up water from aid stations as I go. So this will be all my electrolytes that I need. It is a bit chonky to carry like this, but it's not that heavy, it's not that bad. You can kind of squeeze on it. When it's full, I won't be able to have it down my chest because my tri-suit is incredibly tight. But as I drink more and more from it, it will become smaller and I'll be able to slot it down my chest and run a bit more naturally. So that's something to look forward to. I will not be carrying two 90-gram gels because it's a bit ridiculous trying to hold that much in your hand. And I know I also mentioned I want a caffeine gel as well. So holding that and these two gels is a bit ridiculous. So the plan is, and as you can tell, I haven't mentioned it up until now, so I'm a complete Ironman rookie, is something called special needs. No, I'm not describing James behind the camera. What the? From what I believe is an aid station on the bike and the run where you can have your own specific fuel. So on the evening before the race or the morning of the race, you Ironman veterans will be able to let me know in the comment section below. I'm not too sure how it works, but basically you have a little section with your number on it and it's got your specific nutrition where you want it on the bike or on the run. Now I've decided on the bike I'm not going to stop at the special needs because you physically have to stop, ask them to collect your stuff, grab it, put it in your pockets and go, and I just kind of want to be as efficient as possible on the bike, so I'm going to take as much as I possibly can with me and just pick up water from aid stations as I'm rolling through. However, on the run, I will be having that. So I'll be putting one of these 90-gram carbs in the special needs, and I'll also have the caffeine gel in the special needs. So all I'll be carrying is these two things here. And once I get through this, I'll go to the special needs on the second lap. Let's say it's a 4-lap run. So on the second lap, I'll be done with this and I'll pick up the special needs, get the other gel, and crack on. And so hopefully that will work quite well. I'll minimize the amount of stuff I need to take on the run with me, but I'll have all the essentials with me. And I think this soft flask is probably the best idea for the run. So hopefully it works, and I'm going to be still trialing this and still making sure that it is the best option for me. But I think, you know, when you're trying to run hard off the bike, as hard as I can for a marathon, this is probably the best option. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. And if you've got any better ideas of what you do in an Ironman, then yeah, drop them in the comment section below, because this is obviously my first one. So really, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but this is kind of the best option so far that I've found.
Concentration on that, man.
Oh!
It's still fun.
Oh no! That's my one.
Time around.
Is there cheese on there?
Ah!
The answer to that question is no.
Right on my face.
It doesn't want me on the video.
Yeah.
Good job.
All
I'm
right.
not actually recording anything.
Bacon. Do you want bacon?
Bacon? Bacon.
Bacon is good for me.
Precision nutrition.
Precisely bad.
Bring it over here, come on.
I'm bacon lady.
For a lot of bacon.
There's
Bacon,
another
maybe. Rating.
I reckon these look alright.
Hey.
We have got a bit of salad though, so there you go. Anyway, that's it for this video. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.